Now head that way. Ah, nice. Nice. Also nose. Also nose. Also nose. All right, on 3, 1, 2, 3. I want 10 reps. Let's go. Part it up. Part it up. Let's do this. Switch. Don't give your back. Don't give your back. Stay here. Stay here. All right, switch. Switch. Look. Pretty much, I want to get inside of the okay? And then I'll call 1, 2. Should I do this? Can I keep my elbows open and high? No. So how is my position? Like this or like this? Yes. Like a tiger, like a lion. I am ready to attack. Now, is this look like a lion? Push you against the wall or away or off the area that you're fighting. You must what? Circle. Circle. Right? Because every time I'm here, look, I fight to the inside. You stop pushing me forward. I circle. Now I shoot. Also nose. Now remember, for you guys, the white belts are getting 1 stripe, 2 stripe, 3 stripe. You gotta keep coming. You gotta keep pushing, and you gotta learn what? The belt test, right? How many positions the belt test?
A bunch.
A bunch, but how many? 110. 110. 110 positions for a belt test. So you have to study the art of jiu-jitsu, okay? So you have to know all the foundation. You need to know your warm-up, you need to know your self-defense, you need to know your takedowns, and you need to know your ground game.
Claudio, coach of the UFC champion, Juliana Pena. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks for the opportunity to be here and talk to you a little bit about jiu-jitsu today.
Definitely. So just tell us how you got started in jiu-jitsu. Where'd you grow up? How'd you end up here? Everything.
All right. So very long story, so I'm going to try to make it short, okay? Born in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, right, with all the things in jiu-jitsu happens, you know. The Gracie family, right, Helio Gracie, Rickson Gracie, started there. And actually, as fun as could be, I started jiu-jitsu in Rio, but I was far from actually a Gracie gym. And eventually when I moved to the States to my dad's, right, to go to school actually, I met a guy and he goes like, hey, Rickson Gracie is here, you know, and of course I already knew it. And I'm like, I have to train with Rickson Gracie, right? He's the son of the great master Helio Gracie. And then it was in California, right, in the 90s, 1991. Yes, and I went to school, and of course, jiu-jitsu, you know, was my thing. So it started, let's put it this way, I started in Rio around 87, 86. And then when I came to the US, I always say that that's where, with Rickson, that's where I really started. I committed at the time.
Okay. So how did you end up you're in Schaumburg. How did you end up out here?
Oh my God. Okay. So I would say the first 10 years I stayed in Cali, LA. I lived there, went to school there. And then at a certain point, I was like, you know, I want to go back, because back in the days, they didn't have the amount of tournaments we have it now, you know. So then I was like, you know, I want to go back to Brazil. I want to, of course, I also was a long time here. And I was like, I want to go back. I want to surf more, even though I was in Cali, but I wanted to see my friends and compete, right? Get more experience in competition. So I went back to Brazil, to Rio, but I was coming back and forth, right? But after that, it just, you know, I say like, I could say it became more realistic and more real. And then I was like, man, you know, I can't be away from Rickson. I have to be there. Then I came back, right? So when I came back, I was back and forth. But then we got an opportunity to open a place in Wisconsin, right? So one of our friends opened the place actually. And I started doing a bunch of seminars. And the more seminars and the more people knew about it, I was a Rickson Gracie black belt. I was doing seminars, and I started doing Chicago, here. And then one day I got a business proposal to be actually in downtown with the Monkey Bar Gym. And the idea was to open other places. And I'm like, I'm in, right? The truth is, I had a proposal also in Cali, which I was done deal, right? But other things happened. I thought it was a solid, and because we have a project for poor kids, I had like 20 other, men that, because of the project, they were ready to go. And they're like, look, we're going to open one and many other, places, and we will need, black belts. I'm like, man, it's a God sign. This is what it is. And we started it here in downtown. And then I would say maybe after a year and a half, I came here to do a seminar in one of the gyms here. And a guy actually here at Tri Balance say like, man, we never seen this before. Like we have to have you here. And I partnered up with the yoga place, which it helped me. Tri Balance actually. I gotta say this name many times. Because of them, I'm here in Schaumburg. And yes, yeah. So we opened over there, and then we moved it to the little place, and now we're in a 10,000 square facility. It's being an amazing story.
So, can you share some of the early challenges you had as a coach when you were training fighters, coming up from Brazil and then moving to the States?
Yeah. So the thing is, the first thing with the fighters, right? You got to get their trust, right? And of course, they want to know if you're legit, right? So there's always that check. You know what I'm saying? So right away, they'll come and they'll wrestle, they roll, they do jujitsu, and then right away they go like, okay, this guy's legit, like it's not what people just say about it. So slowly, my name started growing into the jujitsu because I'm not, I know stand up, but I'm not a pro stand up guy. I know wrestling, but I'm not a pro. I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt. That's where, I can help people, train for a fight. But, if masterpiece, I would say jiu-jitsu. So then, I started actually training a bunch of fighters. They start coming over and they just heard about me. Anthony Pettis came, at the time. My brother, Thiago Vega, which has a school in Barrington, he was also training at Duke Rufus, gym. And through Duke, I met Ben Rothwell, and then Pettis and his brother came over here to downtown.
He's from Wisconsin.
Oh, really? Awesome. So, from Milwaukee. I was just there the other day. The guys are there. The Pettis are there from there. So then, it's like once you start going one, they start talking. And then I met Coach Rick, which was the coach from Juliana, Mike Yes, Sam Cecilia, a bunch of other guys. And then, once it started growing, people like, oh man, go to this guy, he's serious, he's legit, he's a good professional.
So it's all just word of mouth?
I would say yes. Yes, I would say yes. It's tough. Once again, it's not easy. Some fighters are very good. Some fighter, it's kind of tough to deal, which is normal, right? I did have some headaches with some fighters, which is normal. But I would say like eventually you eliminate the bad ones, and you start working just,
So
with the ones that are
headaches,
cool.
sorry to cut you.
Yeah,
The headaches come because you're trying to train a certain way and they want to do it their way. Like, how does that happen?
I would say like sometimes depends if the guy. Some guys they become a star, and the star gets in their head, and it's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. So it's like, look, man, if I'm training you, this is the program, okay? If you don't need me, you don't need me, So if you already know everything, go get somebody else. So sometimes young guys, they start growing up right away. Most of the problems are like that. Some problems too. Sometimes it is depending what team, you got 2, 3, 4, coaches, and sometimes, there's one guy that wants to be the head. They want to be, I'm the head coach, and it's like, man, I'm just a jiu-jitsu coach.
And that's what I was going to ask. Like, so I watch UFC a lot,
Yes.
but there's a lot of people, fans or whatever, they say, oh, I thought it was just like they see John Jones and they don't Winkle John, and they have all of these different coaches. So how does that work? Is it just like Juliana, you're her jiu-jitsu coach. Does she have a stand-up coach? Does she have a grappling coach?
Yes. So Juliana has Coach Mike, which trains Bilal, a bunch of UFC fighters, Carlitos, Julie, and other like a bunch of names. I would say he's the number one MMA coach in the whole Chicago area. He has a good team. He's a good guy. He's very professional. He's good. He's got a good team. Sometimes he sends some guys and I'll train their ground. When I have guys that are fighters, we're a family gym. I train very specific fighters. I don't have like a specific class for MMA, right? I want to do more with the family. So she has Coach Mike. She has Coach Wayne Gregory, which is Golden Gloves. Me, right? And she has her Alex, which is does all the conditioning, So yes, sometimes some fighters have 5 different coaches, Yes, and it's very, like with these guys, with Julia, I don't have no problem. But I had other problems before with some coaches because they're not specific good on something, but in their mind they know, So I would say that ego is the biggest problem in the MMA today, between some fighters. But I would say normally people try to, to get together because other than that, man, depends who you are. They're just gonna,
Yeah. So you mentioned Ben, Julie, like name some, like for people watching, they want like some notable fighters.
Yeah. So I didn't train for too long, but for a couple of times, Pattis, his brother, they came a couple of times to the gym. Ben Rothwell, we worked for a long time. Juliana Pena. Yair Rodriguez, El Pantera, it's a great fighter too. Carlos, he just won this weekend. Who else? James Baknovic, a little bit of San Cecilia, a little bit of Mike Chiesa. Who else?
Still going.
Yes, there's a couple more that I even forgot the name. Yes, who else? Elizabeth Phillips also trained her. What else? Oh, Ricardo Lamas. I trained Ricardo Lamas for a long time. Okay. He's a great friend of mine. My son now goes to the college there where he still helps there. He's got a UFC gym here too. And I know I'm forgetting a couple of names. But yes, I had the opportunity to train a lot of guys, and it was great. Overall, I would say, it was a good experience.
So let's briefly talk about Juliana. She's UFC champion. How did you meet her, and what were your thoughts when she first came in?
Man, Juliana, she's amazing. I love her. She's like she calls me pai in Portuguese, which means dad, right, father. And Juliana came when I was one of the UFC training with the manager of Musashi, right? And Nima Sefapur, one of the great managers, a good friend of mine, he calls me, goes like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, Ben went to bed. He goes, "You bring your gi?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have my gi." He goes, "You want to roll?" So we go downstairs, in the UFC hotel for the fight. And then, we train. He goes, "Can I bring a couple friends?" I'm like, "Yeah." So he brought Coach Rick from Spokane with Juliana, Mike Chiesa, and all those guys. Yeah. And on the first day, I was showing some position to Nima, and Rick was like, "What is this?" And right away, we got all these guys coming to my house. I have 5 or 6 fighters coming to my house, and that's how I met them. And Juliana was part of that team too, from Spokane. And then she right away, she came back. She stayed here with me, and the next thing I'm doing is I was training her to fight a couple fights, and we became family. Let's put it this way, literally. Juliana lived with me. I was putting my, help my kids do homeworks and, help me take them to school. So she's a part of my family. And, as I think we're going to be together like 10 years now. Yeah, almost 10 years. So, it took a long time.
You and her, you're a part of probably, in my opinion, the biggest upset in UFC history, right?
1,000%. My God.
I can't tell you another fight. Like, I remember watching it to this day.
Yes.
It was jiu-jitsu, right?
Yes.
So tell me, how that feels watching Juliana beat someone that everybody claims is
Yes,
a women.
yes.
Go.
Yeah, she, we can't take, and I respect, her a lot.
I
Of
feel
course.
that Juliana is
Right? Yeah, it's amazing. I always say that, the hardest thing, because this is the thing what a lot of people don't know. These girls that fight at 135, like Amanda is big.
yeah.
She's strong. It's like, the girl now, Kayla, they have a very tough cutting. Juliana walks around 141. She cuts to 36. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And all these girls, man, Juliana should fight lower. I always tell her that. She should fight in the lower division. Because these girls, they're massive. Next day when you see them, if you go to the first fight and you see Amanda exchanging with her, you look at the size, like, oh my gosh, she's so big. I always say that she was able to finish with a sub, but I have to tell you this, because of Mike, with her whole MMA, preparation, the wrestling, the work on the wall, Coach Wayne with the jabs and all that stuff from boxing, Alex, me, Nelson Machado that helped too, one of our Brazilian guys. It's like, it's
The collective.
yes, because somebody say, oh yeah, it was a submission, jiu-jitsu. No, I'm like, look, before she gets that, she need those jabs, she need the takedown, she need this, every part since her first coach, even he wasn't in this corner, which, it's like, bro, everybody has a piece, on this great, amazing, collection of the toughest belt ever, And yes, everybody when they ask me, what'd you think about it, or what do you think about how's the fight's gonna be? I say, look, we're fighting the toughest of all time, but Juliana trained the entire year, man, Monday to Monday, right? And Amanda, if I'm not wrong, I think one or twice she said she caught COVID. If she did it or not, if it was a problem with the cut, I don't know. A lot of people say a bunch of stuff, but I'm not here to say any bad thing about it. But actually it was good because we trained for her entire year. And I knew she had a great chance to do it, but like everybody else, man, and it pisses me off sometimes. People are like, oh, it was a fluke, it was this, is that. Oh, look at that. Amanda won her on the second time. Okay, Amanda won on the second time, but she didn't knock her out. No. She did not choke her out. And Amanda, if you watch, she was walking out on crutches. And after the interview, they had to put her in a wheelchair. Yeah. So wait a minute there. Not taking anything from Amanda. Amazing fighter. You know what I'm saying? But bro, come on. Yeah. Let's give to Juliana. She is a tough cookie. And a lot of people too, what it kind of upsets me, right? Because they don't know Juliana, how amazing, as a mom, as a woman, as a person. People have no idea, right? Juliana is one of the nicest person I've ever met in my life. One of the kindest person I met in my life. And, of course, when you hear something, Juliana had to speak up a lot. And you see it. If she did not speak, she would never get this fight. No. And she had to. And it was almost like, I am a true martial artist. I don't believe talking shit is a good thing. But dude, at that point, she had to. Because at the UFC 200, Juliana beat Kat Zingano.
Yep.
And right there, Juliana said, well, Juliana should be the next this and this and that. And she took another fight and she took another fight. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Amanda was scared, because I don't think Amanda's scared of nobody. You know what I'm saying? But I think maybe that was not a good fight for her. And, if I'm a champion and you know what I'm saying? There'll be people like, no, you keep fighting. If you keep winning, maybe I'll fight you. Do you understand? So it is what it is. And yes, she had to speak up a lot for herself. And a lot of the times, you know how it is. You have a bunch of fighters, online fighters that don't know anything, but they know everything.
It's a business.
It's a business, and exactly. Yes, yes.
I would rather see that than know if
yes,
else,
yes. So I once again, it's respect for all of them, all of these fighters. They have tough fights and tough life.
So last question on Juliana and the situation in UFC. So I'm sure everybody wants to know. I know I do. You wake up, day of the fight. Give me the day of the life of Luis. Like, what do you do leading up to head into the octagon out with your fight?
On the day of it?
Day of.
Oh, Lord. Okay. It's tough because that week, right? That week we leave about Monday or Sunday or depend.
Utah
Yes,
time, right?
yes. And normally we leave on Sunday, I think, at this time. Depend like Abu Dhabi, we left a little bit earlier. It depends where, we try to, get kind of like get the time and see how it is. And it's tough sometimes it's too dry, high altitude and stuff like that. But the day of the fight, normally we try to do like a shake up. We hit some pads with some roll, nothing hard, but just like, hey, today's the day, but nothing hard at all. Some fighters, they don't like that, but Julie, sometimes she does. So it matters how you wake up. You know what I'm saying? But on that day, that's what we do. Then she get breakfast because, they cut. Her cut is not that crazy. So, but then she can eat and does her hair. And pretty much is just that anxiety for that day. It's really tough for that day to be, thinking, my God, it's going to be the toughest fight of the world. It's the title. So after that training, breakfast, which I try, most of the coaches, we try to leave her, we always close to each other in the room. So if she needs something, she calls. But we always put her to, take a nap, and then after that, it's fight time. We get there, we wait till the fights are going on, we do a big warm up, and then she's ready to roll. She's a tough one.
So is everything, like, I don't want to get too crazy with the behind the scenes, so do they like, hey, you got this amount of time before the fight
Yes,
and all of that
yes,
stuff?
yeah. The UFC comes and tell us, we have a whole, the UFC is extremely organized. They're amazing. They are amazing. They are number one. UFC is number one for a reason, man. They are amazing. Amazing.
Your outfits already.
Everything. Nothing. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I've been since like for a long time. And, it just got better and better and better and bigger, more organized. And now it's just one of the biggest. It is. It's a big machine.
So how do you tailor your coaching approach to meet unique needs and strengths of every athlete? Like, Juliana's a woman. You have this guy fight. Like, how do you like tailor your way of coaching when you got to go into a fight situation with your fighters?
So nobody the camp. So let's put it this way: the camp. What we try to do is, we watch a lot of videos of the fighter. Of course, we study their style. We see the strongest point, the weakest point. Everything about the fighter. And then we put a plan together. And this way, like we have coach meetings too at her house. We watch a bunch of videos, we talk about it, and then it's time to do the work here. And if something happens I try sometimes to go to Mike's role or, Wayne, or some Fridays we get to her house, or depending on the fighter, and then we study a lot, and then we see the strongest. Sometimes the coach, hey, today, she's messing up on this takedown, or she's doing this, like I want you to. So we share a lot, to make sure that we don't mess up or nothing passes by, and I think that's a cool thing about the coaches. We've been together for a while too, and I think that's a great thing because it's anything and everything counts. One little thing you let it pass, one choke, one this, one punch, one way. You know what I'm saying? So we're very open to to listen to point of view. Of course, I don't get to Mike's business or Wayne or nobody. Same as they don't do that to me. So we know where we can do. So it's very important.
I saw you had some pictures of these guys. These guys are huge, and obviously Jose Aldo is a legend.
Legend.
Alex Pereira,
another legend.
Came.
Just yeah.
So what's your opinion on these guys? Like, just how
I know Aldo.
Pereira.
Yeah, I know Aldo. I mean,
I thought he was done.
Yeah,
He looked good.
Man, he is ego, isn't he? Like he goes to the mound, get everything out, and come back even better. It's amazing, because before Aldo gets there, Aldo's already winning everything in WEC, and it's like, bro, how many people gets 10 years in the business defending title, and the toughest fighter, you know what I'm saying? And it's still fighting, you know. It's you got to take that hat for Aldo. His story is amazing. Andrea Pedernera is his head coach, you know, one of the nicest person and probably one of the best coaches in history. You know what I'm saying? And their team is amazing because they kind of came from a very poor side of Rio, you know, and became a huge machine, you know, so it's pretty cool. And Pereira, I just met him in this last fight with Julie. You know, he was in Glory, but, you know, you saw a little bit of his story. You know, it's a very tough story. You know, he was involved with alcohol before, you know, a lot of stuff, you know. He used to change tires of trucks, you know, so it's crazy. You know, I always say that, you know, man, that the sport, you know, any sport is the exit of a lot of things. Sports is the exit for a lot of people. I wish, you know, not just my government back in Brazil, but, you know, all the governments would help and put a lot more effort, you know, on the social programs, you know, for the poor kids, for the kids that use drugs. You know, I got so many kids out of the street. I helped so many kids, you know, to do well just because of, you know, martial arts.
Speaking of that, like, what's some of the most important lessons or principles you emphasize in your training sessions, especially with kids? I mean, my daughter comes here for a reason. Discipline, and from day one till now, all I've seen is you know, on the same path to help these kids out. Like, what are your principles and what do you follow?
Well, you know, the basic, you know, we don't do nothing crazy about it, but I try to be as much as, you know, solid, basic, and literally, like, your kid will come here, you know, we'll teach the basic foundation of, you know, respect each other, you know, the basic, you know, honor your family, you know, be nice, you know, protect, you know, learn how to defend yourself. So everything that is positive that I can bring it to the kids, that's always our goal. You know, we had kids that, oh, my kid, you know, he doesn't leave the house, or my kid is scared, my kid is this. I don't care, whatever the problem is. When they come here, they're all the same. Oh, my kid takes this medicine. Oh, my kid has this ADHD. I don't care. They're kids. You know, I will deal with them. Just bring them to me, you know, and I will help them. And we work, of course, we have a program, right, on top of the techniques we have to. We have body movement, which is our warm-up. And our warm-up, we call the wax on, wax off, right, on the sit-outs and the stuff that we do. They all become position when they're fighting. And then we have the second part, which is self-defense. So they learn also to stand up. If somebody grabs you here, somebody grabs from the back, somebody tries to take you away, you know, so a lot of the stuff that the kids should know, right? And then after that part, we have the ground stuff. And then this and this. So everything from how to walk, how to stand up, how to defend a choke, a punch, a kick, you know, into the ground. So we try as best as I can, you know, to make them understand, you know, we're gonna walk on the mats, you bow, you know, you're gonna respect the coach, and when I talk, you listen. So a lot of the things, you know, not just how to behave and be good, but also, hey, if something goes wrong, you're gonna be able to defend yourself, you know, and I think a lot of people don't do this, you know. Our kids, they need to be protected. And the best protection is one, the parents be good and talk and communicate. And the second, you gotta teach them how to defend themselves, because you're not gonna be there all the time. And that's the most important thing. And as we were talking about it, all the bad things that happen, you know, with the women, I teach a women's self-defense. Man, it's in college, you know, and it's guys get drunk, they got stupid, and they do stuff, stupid stuff. And a lot of the times the girls, they don't know how to defend themselves. You know, I had many cases, you know, here of people that started, unfortunately, late, that, you know, they something happened bad to them, and then they look for, you know. But also, I have Dr. You know, Dr. Chris, you know, she's this little doctor that we have, and she got attacked here in Hoffman, in Schaumburg, actually, in Schaumburg, in a nice neighborhood.
Supposedly, yeah.
And this guy, is following her the whole time, and she got attacked. And if it wouldn't be for her martial art, background, jiu-jitsu, she actually was able to take the guy down, mobilize, start screaming, people came in, So I would say, man, in the world that we live today, we must prepare our kids with everything we can. That's it should be our duties. Not just going, oh, here's a phone, here's a gift, and here's
Yeah.
this. Man, don't do that. Don't do that. We gotta prepare them from the world and make sure that, hey, this is real. And I always tell parents, and the last thing I'll tell you, I always tell the parents, like, allow them to switch all the sports. Okay, it doesn't have to be my jiu-jitsu. It can be karate, it can be Muay Thai, it can be kickboxing, anything, taekwondo, whatever. But let them understand that if every time, anytime somebody get close to them, man, they know how to defend themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because once a bully, my kids got bullied in school before, and then eventually they defend themselves, and they did not get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So not all the time, unfortunately, not all the time the talk will, solve problems. So
So last couple. So I watch UFC a lot. I'm sure you've heard it. What's your take when you have fans say that, oh, jiu-jitsu, this is boring. I want to see a knockout. I don't want to see these guys laying around and rolling around. I hear that all the time.
yes, yes.
What's your opinion of that? Because I love the art. I like to watch it.
Yes, I mean, it's for me to say, it's like, one, there's a lot of champions that never ever walked in a cage or any competition to even understand, how amazing this is, right? And actually, a person that says that is so stupid because, bro, it started with, Horace Gracie. It started with his dad, Helio Gracie. And it started with the Gracies back. If we go back, if it wouldn't be for the jiu-jitsu that the Gracie bought it, the UFC would never exist. Because Julio Gracie is the one that created, and it's like, man, if you open your mouth to say something like that, it's like you don't know anything, and it's just unbelievable, It's like it's almost like, if you talk about martial arts and you never mention Bruce Lee,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I don't like those kicks in the movie, like. But I always say this, fans are fans. You gotta have some that sees the way we see, and you gotta see others that don't see the way we see. And I would say, you gotta respect all of them. I definitely don't agree with them, because when you win, you're the best coach in the world. When you lose, oh, you suck, you don't know what you're teaching. Or, I hear that a lot. Oh, she should have done that, or he should have done that. It's like, bro, have you ever got punched in the face?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever got 5 times elbow in the head? Like, no. Did you have a fight before? No. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, you don't understand. It's like you go to the range and you got your gun and you shoot, right there. And then one thing, you go to war and the guy starts shooting, you're shooting at the same time. You can't even move. So, I respect, a lot of times when I hear stuff like that, I just think it's funny. Some comments sometimes piss me off because they don't know what happened.
Yeah.
They don't know. Actually, a lot of people don't know how much injuries those people have. So, Juliana fought before with, such a bad knee or bad this or bad that or Ben or, any guy. They walked in and people don't know, they had a very bad camp and they're there representing, like, they don't want to lose their job, or they're tire you without fighting. So it's tough. It's a tough business. Short and very tough business.
Really quick. All right, last question. Looking ahead, what do you see as the future of jiu-jitsu and MMA? And what are your goals for all of your fighters, including Juliana, her development as the current champion, and all your other fighters coming up?
Well, I feel, it's like any other martial arts. It's there's always gonna come a kid that is gonna represent, in the UFC. I always say now even more. You can't be just like, oh, I'm a master in jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, and in all the other martial arts, it's not gonna. You got to be good in everything now. Maybe you master jiu-jitsu, or you master wrestling, but you got to know everything else. because everybody involved so much. Everybody's so much better. You know, the level of the fighters is just, you know, remember back in the days, there was some, you know, bar fighters, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's over. That's over. You know, you see little kids now training MMA. You know, by the time they're 17, it's like, Jesus, man, this, you know, so I see it's always going to evolve. Jiu-jitsu is always going to be there. You know, and the thing too, I always tell people, you know, jiu-jitsu is a way of life. You know, it's a way of life, and it's a good way. You know, because you eat healthy. You know, you train. You get all the. You know, I never liked to drink. Never liked drugs. Never tried anything, and I train 2-3 times a day. You know, I'm extremely active. You know, and at this time in my life, a lot of people that went to school with me, they don't do anything anymore. They're like, bro, it's like, what happened? You age like 150 years old, you know, and I'm still living the life, you know, and I feel like a lot of the times, you know, people just think about also just the competition side, but you know, just think about it. You know, the people that comes here, the weak guy, you know, the guy that wants to lose weight, the guy, you know, I have people that comes here with a lot of, I have some people that came here with taking like 24 years old, 23 years old, 21 years old, 5 different medicines, you know, for depression, for this, for everything now is depression. Oh, here, take some medicine. Oh, anxiety, you know, everything. And then suddenly a person started doing it and goes like, oh my God, I don't need anything anymore. You know, I'm clean. I'm not drink. I had alcoholic people that was hard smoker, alcoholic. Stop doing it. You know, so I say, you know, the sport, you know, of course, the men up there, Jesus always, you know, is the best thing, man. You know, sports, and of course, I represent the Rickson Gracie Jiu Jitsu, the Halle Gracie Jiu Jitsu. So I would say, look for a good gym close to you that has good principles, a good coach, you know, that understands what they're doing. You know, read their story. You know, check, you know, their foundation, so you can sign up your kid, you know, in a good place.
That's Luiz Claudio on his interview, right? I appreciate you joining.
Thank you guys so much for the opportunity. God bless.
City boy with a country swing. First we went from the court to the bikes, back to the course of my younger days. Lived through it all, but still nothing changed. Forever be me till I'm in the grave. Face on my problems, don't run away. Stand on my feelings, don't need a chase. Just shoot me straight. I'm like an acrobat, a circus act.